So what's happening today? Today the big story is Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions recuses himself from Russia. Jeff Sessions lied, and now, lo and behold, the Democrats smell blood, and they're all just pleased as punch, thinking, oh, we got another scalp. That's what it's all about. We're gonna make Jeff Sessions have to resign, just like what happened with Michael Flynn. As if this is real politics. As if this is really something to focus on or care about. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that nobody in the Democratic Party has woken up to the fact that these sort of meaningless melodramas are just that. Meaningless melodramas. Interesting that happened, okay? Trump takes office, Trump's inauguration is Friday. 3 days later, Monday, possibly the most important thing politically happened, and barely anybody noticed it. 3 days after he took office, was sworn in. That day, he announces, I'm doing away with NAFTA, I'm renegotiating NAFTA, and I'm pulling us out of TPP. And that same day, he met with these union leaders who were all psyched, saying, really had high praise for Donald Trump. Fast forward 4 years from now. That is the only political thing, the only important political thing that has happened since Donald Trump has been taken office. A lot of this other stuff, Donald Trump is the biggest racist, sexist that ever walked the face of the earth. Nobody learned. Nobody learned. That's not a good argument. That's the argument that was used against Donald Trump when he was running against Hillary Clinton. Yes, he's the most incompetent, biggest racist, sexist you ever met in your life. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Now he's the President of the United States. And he's the President of the United States starting to enact and do some of the very things that he promised he would do. Wow, what a revolutionary concept. And the Democrats are fixating on small ball tactical victories like they mean anything. They don't. They don't mean a thing. 4 years from now, why is TPP going to be important? Because 4 years from now, he's going to go back to the same places where he got the victory. Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And he's going to make a case to the same working class people, look, I pulled us out of these things, and he's only stronger in those places. As of today, Donald Trump is winning politically. And most of the Democratic Party and the people on the left think that he's on his last legs. They didn't live through the campaign I lived through. They didn't learn anything from the past. Jeff Sessions may be forced to resign. Who cares? 4 years from now, exactly which person, name me exactly one person who is going to give the flyingest fig whether Jeff Sessions steps down now or not. Whether Jeff Sessions is the Attorney General then or not. Absolutely nobody. See, one of the things that people don't see about Donald Trump is part of the reason that he won is that he actually has an agenda. Through all of this melodrama and all this stuff that people say about him and all of, some of his own personal idiosyncrasies, there is an actual governing agenda that he talked about routinely and constantly, and that he is actually enacting. And central to his appeal was, I am not necessarily in favor of free trade. Now, the irony is that I actually, in that area, I don't tend to agree with Donald Trump. I think that, free trade is on balance better economically than not free trade. But that's neither here nor there. At least he has some sort of agenda, some sort of governing agenda that he's actually focused on and he means. I mean, there are big things being discussed right now. They're talking about repealing the Affordable Care Act, and they're talking about renegotiating taxes. Both of those things are really big, important things that are going to affect people in their daily lives. And what are the Democrats fixated on? Stupid, inconsequential, tactical victories that mean zero, that mean absolutely nothing. 4 years from now, what happens with the Affordable Care Act is going to be one of the most important things to a lot of people. What happens with tax reform is going to be one of the most important things to a lot of people. You would think that people involved in politics would be paying attention to the big picture stuff and at least trying to navigate or have some sort of agenda when it comes to the big deal things, but they don't. I mean, the most unsung quality of Donald Trump, whatever you think about him, is that he actually has policy initiatives. He actually has ideas that are going to change the shape of the country. And I fully expect him to enact those ideas. Whatever the daily melodrama that you see, you need to learn to look through the daily melodrama and see what's actually going on. What's actually going on is Donald Trump right now is winning. He started out in his inauguration, right after his inauguration, maybe tied, maybe 16-15 in favor of Donald Trump. Now it's like 20-15. And all the opposition is focused on is the daily melodramas. You know, like protests in the street make any bit of difference. They don't. They don't. Like what a racist, sexist he is makes any bit of difference. It doesn't. Governing agendas going forward. That's really where it's at. That is really what decides. That is really the things at play. The political forces at play that are important are the big, important ones that affect millions upon millions of people. Not the small ball, inconsequential ones. Not whether Jen Sessions lied to this person, which it looks like he may have lied. But does anybody really think that does anybody really think that there's some real deep collusion between Donald Trump's team and the Russians? Do you really? Because I don't. Do I think there's some stuff that looks suspicious? Probably. But who cares? There are important things going on. Politicians should fixate on important things. One of the reasons why Bernie Sanders did so much better than everybody thought he would. And don't keep in mind, Bernie Sanders' agenda was borderline, it was completely bogus. There was about 3 things that he cared about, breaking up the big banks, giving free college, and almost next to nothing else. But why did people respond so much? Because he was concerned with politics. He was actually concerned with his agenda and not the stupid melodrama that surrounds everybody. The pundits tell you to fixate on the melodrama because they forget how insignificant it actually is. If melodrama were important, there's no way Donald Trump would be president right now. None. Because there were at least 15 times where the pundits said, he's down for the count. That's it. He's over. Finished. Because they'd never seen anybody cut through a storm of melodrama like that and survive. And lo and behold, Donald Trump did it. Telling you something, indicating quite clearly that the melodrama is not that important. Learn from the past. Don't let the same things happen over and over again and pretend like they have significance like you did in the past. Nobody recognized that Donald Trump was winning that election because you were putting too much of your attention on the stuff that doesn't matter. Just like what is happening today. Jeff Sessions, whether he stays on as Attorney General or not, is irrelevant. It's not going to change anybody's pocketbook. It's not going to change anybody's life. Nobody cares. It's of interest to pundits only because they thrive on the melodrama, on the daily, dramas. That's what gives cable news its ratings. So fine, as a side story, it's kind of entertaining to watch. But as something of actual political importance, it is completely and utterly meaningless. Mark my words. The most important thing that happened in Donald Trump's administration happened 3 days after he was inaugurated. And nobody noticed. When in 4 years from now, when he goes back to Ohio and he goes back to Pennsylvania and when he goes back to Michigan, he is going to be returning as the conquering hero, the working class hero. That's already baked into the cake, people. If the Democrats want to beat him, and I honestly can't see that they do from how they're acting, they're going to have to do something about that. They're going to have to realize that he took away a huge chunk of their voting bloc. And it isn't coming back. And all of the melodrama isn't going to bring it back. And identity politics isn't going to bring it back. And as far as I can see, they have absolutely no idea on even approaching solving the problem. So as I see it right now, Donald Trump is going to win re-election very easily, handily, without much competition. It's just as I call it now. The rest of this stuff, it just doesn't matter.